In the mid-2000s, VampireFreaks became the social network for goth and emos alike. Similar to what you can find with the MySpace era, VampireFreaks would be the go-to webpage for all things that go bump in the night. But it wasn't just a site for catching up with friends that MySpace and Facebook would advertise, as you could shop for goth apparel while chatting with fellow outcasts from around the world, or just simply updating your profile with gothic backgrounds and amazing industrial music of the time. I can't tell you how many countless hours I would spend browsing for cyber gothic drip on VampireFreaks, whether it be masks, goggles, or dreads. You could say that VampireFreaks was seen as the underground hot topic due to the mainstream shift of focusing more on video game and anime lore and less on goth apparel that would plague hot topic at the end of the 2000s. But it was also seen as a community that you could go to and socialize, because some of us just wanted a space where we could be ourselves. And VampireFreaks was that for so many users. Myself, as an angsty teen, had a profile under the screen name Death is Peaceful 100, which is very grim looking back on it now, but was inspired by none other than the Twilight franchise. In the movie Twilight, Bella makes a quote saying that death is peaceful and easy, life is harder, and I use that as a screen name. This would give me my own space to be different while socializing. See what I did there with the references? However, with all good things that came from the 2000s, the social network side of VampireFreaks would end after the 2020s, leaving just the store. What would happen to this beloved webpage? And did the social network side of VampireFreaks become plagued with concerning individuals? VampireFreaks has become the shopping ground for all areas of gothic culture. Today, you can find just about any fashion trend for the outcast of the world under the domain VampireFreaks. From more rave-inspired trip pants to some amazingly styled handbags, VampireFreaks can be seen as the more upgraded version of Hot Topic. But the current landscape of the webpage has not always been about shopping. If you came up on the internet in the 2000s like I did, you will remember that VampireFreaks was also a social platform for angsty teens or outcasted adults. It's not a phase, Mom. This space was brought into popularity by its creator, Jethro Burleson, or Jet, at the end of the 90s and early 2000s, which at the time was just seen as a small forums page with some picture sharing of gothic fashion in New York City. Jet would see the community love behind this message board, and in the mid-2000s, VampireFreaks would launch as a social networking platform. Join a chat room, rate people's style, shop for gothic drip, share your interest with customizable profiles, and find new alternative and industrial bands. VampireFreaks became a dominating force that would influence every bit of what we see today on TikTok. It pushed eras like emo and scene of the 2000s to the next level, and would make being different but yourself the key for confidence. Just about everyone that I grew up around had a VampireFreaks account, which says a lot about what kind of motivational force that platform was. As the webpage would grow, it would also see a rise of scandals and some very disgusted users, leaving people to exit the platform in the mid-2010s. Talking about VampireFreaks or VF, while it still has an online store, can be tricky because of its controversy. While I still believe that VampireFreaks in its current climate is a dominating force in gothic fashion, its counterpart of social networking has led people to see the page in a more negative way. Looking into what has happened to the webpage that I have come to know and love, around the mid-2010s, it would experience a downfall of users. Some reasons being because of the shift in social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter became the norm for like-minded individuals that you would see on VF. Facebook offering pages that were dedicated to the goth and emo culture, like what was seen on VF under message boards or chat rooms, but Facebook still letting users have the capability of connecting with family members, was seen as the next wave of innovation in in the internet atmosphere. However, this wasn't the only force of people leaving the VampireFreaks platform. In one article, it could be stated that the webpage had dealt with trolls, hackers, and ridiculous rumors. But reading into this further, people would discuss the amount of concerning individuals or bots that would plague the social network side of VampireFreaks. Even myself remember encountering this behavior in the 2010s. However, what is said about VF can also be used in the current landscape of social media like X. The downfall of VampireFreaks as a social platform, to my mind, was due to the shift of accessibility. It was becoming more popular to have an application on a phone than to use a computer, leading VF to end in 2020. VampireFreaks was not only a social networking platform, or in its current state a store, it was also a leading force in the gothic fashion industry that we have today. Without its presence, chat rooms, and fashion ideas, the current landscape of goth, emo, punk, or cybergoth would still be way underground. It influenced the shift in 2000s films to be more understanding of the outcasts. The pages you see on Facebook or Meta for the gothic and emo culture, or the one celebrity you follow on Instagram like Scarlord, can all be seen as byproducts of what VampireFreaks was in the 2000s. Its influence has made VampireFreaks a pop culture icon, and it's just everywhere. This also led people to be more themselves, which is a very unique side. I would really love to see VampireFreaks come back as a social platform. However, I can see that it currently exists through other areas of the internet. It was very different than the current landscape that we have today. I remember having a neon green biohazard background and playlist that featured artists like Terror Error on my profile because I was really into cybergothic fashion of the time. The community behind VampireFreaks remains as a memory, but it can still be seen today within TikTok, leaving VF as a legacy for goths and outcasts alike.